Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Daryl.
And this is episode 237. We interrupt this launch.
273?
273, what did I say?
237. A little bit of...
I'm dyslexic, so, I was actually reading the screen. Sorry, apologies. Words are hard. It didn't even take me 30 seconds to have a words are hard moment this week. I'm on top of it. All right, so this week we are talking WandaVision Season 1, Episode 4. Don't forget to go sign up for our Patreon for as little as $2. You can get all of the Patreon exclusive commentaries that we're doing for the show this season. And if you like them, let us know what show coming up you'd like us to do next. And then we've got... the penultimate season 5 episode of The Expanse, Winnipesaukee. It's fun to say. Say it.
Yeah. Winnipesaukee.
Winnipesaukee. Anyway. All right. But kicking off this nonsense this week, we got some news bites. So, I put this first one in here just to mean it to be like a quick thing, but I'm genuinely excited about this because if I wasn't nerdy enough, I do actually get stamps.
So I have a question. What are postage stamps?
So postage stamps are these little stickers that you put in the top right corner of an envelope, which is a folded up piece of paper that's kind of glued together with a flap that you put a letter in, which is something that you use a pen, which is a device with ink in it, to write on a piece of paper, which is essentially just a ground up tree that's like freeze dried. And then you fold the paper over, you put it into the envelope, you close the envelope, and you put the stamp on there. And then after you write down your information, you send it to a friend.
So why don't you just text them or email
them? Because really, like texting and email, it's all, spied upon by people. And if you really just want to get your stuff done, you write someone a letter, dude.
I wonder how many people out there
people out there, they're so stupid. Like, honestly, like if you're gonna do something nefarious, write a letter and like just plan a couple weeks out in advance.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I wonder how many people have not actually sent a letter.
Are we talking like just recently or in their lives?
In their lives. I bet you a lot of people that have been born
how
in
many
the
millennials
2000s
are
haven't.
there?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think there's something like 40 million millennials. So that plus the Zoomers, we're probably looking at close to 65 million people who have never written a letter.
I know one of my coworkers a few years ago said I think it was her son or son or nephew, didn't know how to write a check. It's like...
I had to write a check the other day, and Angel was like, do you even remember how to do that? I'm like, yeah. I grew up in a time where that's all we had. I remember before there were credit cards because I'm old AF, just like you. Anyway, the postal stamps. They're Star Wars postal stamps. Cool. And they're the droids. So, and it's got R2, IG-11, K2SO, DO, L337 for whatever reason, BB-8, C-3PO, Gonk, the power droid, 2-1B, the surgical droid, and Chopper. So
I think Chopper's my favorite one and how he talks.
He's voiced by Dave Filoni too, so I think that's the best thing. So, no, I'm really excited. So I have the Batman stamps and the Harry Potter stamps and a bunch of space and NASA stamps. So, I'm actually pretty excited for this. And the proceeds will go to help support STEM learning initiatives across the country, which is very, very important. And they'll be here in the spring of 2021. And I will definitely be buying at least 3 sheets. So, yes, giant nerd on this side of the conversation this week.
Yeah, I saw. It was funny when I looked at the show notes and I saw that and I'm thinking, okay.
You're like,
but then I looked at
why is Brian leading with stamps?
Yeah. And then I read the article and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool.
So yeah. So anyway, stamps are fun. Stamps are a cool thing to collect, I think. Um, maybe not. But they're Star Wars, and Star Wars is commonly known also as life.
Star Wars is life.
Anyway,
Is that going to be a hashtag?
yeah.
Trending?
So moving on, Kong Skull Island is getting changed into a TV show, or well, I guess spun off into a TV show is the right word, and it's going to be on Netflix. And it's
It's going
going
to be animated.
Is it okay? Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
you're
an
right.
anime
Yeah.
kind of type show.
So, and they're focusing on the shipwrecked characters. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting. I'll be honest. I would have really liked to have like John C. Riley come back, and like maybe it's like the 2 years before everybody shows up to capture or kill Kong, and it's just John C. Riley living on the island with the indigenous folks.
Well, who knows? Because right now the story details are very limited with
Yeah.
this.
But I'm saying like live action, not a cartoon.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
because Netflix
That
has
makes
done
sense.
this before with a cartoon, like they have that ridiculous Fast and Furious Spy Racers show.
Oh, I've never watched that.
Yeah, I've
So,
never watched it. Well, I watched the preview and I'm like, I'm out. No, thank you.
So the thing is, and the big thing about obviously animation is what type of animation style they're going to have. If it's
Yeah.
going to be something like, so I haven't watched it yet, but there's the Blood of Zeus, and I've heard decent things about it. I've watched the Dragon Prince, which I love that animation, and I love just the story itself. And then you have something like what is it, Castlevania, which is that more of that anime style, the sharp anime style. There's kind
Yeah.
of like different anime styles. So I'm curious to see what type of you know animated style they use. But also it is what, so the Kong Skull Island took place in the 70s, I believe. So they have about 50 years to play, 50 or 60 years to play with, or something along those lines. Who knows where it's going to go. It's kind of interesting, but let's be honest, I'm waiting for the title fight that's coming out in March 31st.
Yeah. So, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah. Okay. So the next one, which is just kind of news, is Apple's services record a $15.8 billion in quarterly revenue. And so the Apple services is things like Apple TV Plus, Apple Music, Apple Arcade, Apple Fitness, Apple Music, things like that, which is crazy. That's up 24% from the same period earlier last year, which was 12.7 billion. And so this is what gets us shows like Ted Lasso, The Morning Show, For All Mankind, things like that. Dickinson with Haley Steinfeld. But I don't know. I just thought this was really kind of an interesting thing to bring up, because Apple doesn't have like a ton of subscribers for this stuff. I mean, they're not on the level of like Netflix or Disney Plus, or I don't think they're even on
Right.
on the level of like the Peacock. But because like it's this whole ecosystem where it's got music and arcade and fitness and all the cloud storage and things like that. Like it's actually like this is gonna turn into a little bit of a commercial, and this isn't sponsored or anything, but it's actually like a really good buy if you're in the Apple ecosystem.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to do like a quick hit on this one because I thought it was very interesting, but at the same time, I was shocked at that number.
Yeah, it said, like at the end of the article, it said that they have more than 620 million pay subscriptions, up from 140 million
Yeah.
during the same period last year.
So, but that's not all like, that's like I think
That's just
everything.
like everything. Yeah, I think
So
it's everything.
because
Yeah.
it's like there's some, so they have like plans where you can get everything like for a monthly payment, or you can get like just music or just TV or just fitness, whatever,
Right.
just arcade, just cloud, and so those are like way cheaper, but that definitely like will like increase that user count. But for people who have like just TV, like I'd be interested to see what that is. The other thing is when it launched, they gave everybody a free year for Apple
Yeah.
TV Plus. I'm really interested to see how many people keep it. Honestly, for me, just because I have the whole thing, it's worth it just to keep it for the 3 seasons of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, they said they also said that subscribers who signed up during the trial will have had their free trial extended through July 2021.
Yeah, I think they did that just because of the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah,
So the
probably.
what's your favorite version that people call it? I like the cornholio sickness. That's my favorite.
The quick one is Coof, but I think
Yeah.
Modelo is
Yeah,
really good.
Eric July with the Modelo virus is definitely a good one too. But Luke from We Are Change with the cornholio sickness is definitely
The
yeah.
cornholio sickness.
So
I haven't heard that one. I didn't hear
yeah,
that one.
it's
Him
pretty
use that one.
funny. So all right, so moving on, we have Teen Titans news, and not the Teen Titans. It's the TV version of Titans, which is okay. uh, anyway, so we got Tim Drake casting news, and it's I'm gonna butcher his last name. I'm gonna guess it's Jay Lycurgo.
That's what I heard somebody mention it as.
Cool.
So
Anyway, so in this Variety article, it says Titans season 3 has cast Jay Lycurgo in a reoccurring role of Tim Drake, so that's good. But then they proceed, and I don't know if this came from the WB, which it wouldn't surprise me because they don't really understand their characters, or if this is just the person from Variety who doesn't know.
I think
shit
it's
about
from the
shit.
WB. Like
Okay.
reading that again, it's from the WB's description of who this
Okay.
character is
So
in Titans.
It says here, Drake is described as a streetwise kid who managed to grow up on the toughest streets without losing his indelible belief in heroism. His easygoing demeanor is backed by a near genius mind, a natural detective with a perception of detail far beyond his years. Fans of the Batman comic will recall that Drake served with Batman as the third Robin. All right, so this is like mostly Jason Todd, what they're describing here.
Yeah.
Tim Drake was a rich white kid who lived next door to Bruce Wayne and figured out that he was Batman because he noticed the first Robin looked different from the second Robin, and then the second Robin just all of a sudden up and disappeared because he met his end by a 900 number. Anyway, I want my money back. I'm not kidding. I like Jason Todd as Red Hood, but I'm pissed, man. I voted to kill that little bastard. Anyway, but no, and Tim figured out that Batman had gone off the rails after the second Robin disappeared, and met an untimely end at the end of a crowbar. And so he put together 2 and 2 that Bruce Wayne is Batman. That is how he became Robin. He invited himself to the club. He wasn't discovered. He forced the issue.
Right.
Which is why most Robin fans consider Tim Drake to be the greatest Robin. Not the best like Batman sidekick, right? But to be the greatest actual Robin.
I mean, the fact that he, this, and again, one of these things they could. Well, I mean, I know Titans is a lot different than the whole, where he originally came from in the sense of Batman having Robin as a sidekick, but I wonder how if they're going to kind of spin it that he figures out that Grayson as Nightwing or something along those lines. But again, like you were talking about with the CW not understanding their characters.
This is HBO Max, but still, CW doesn't understand them either. But
yeah, HBO Max, WB,
just WB in general, yeah.
They don't understand their characters because that. When I read that, I was like, that sounds a lot like. And again, remember, I'm not the huge DC into the comics fan. I just read that and I'm like, that sounds a lot like Jason Todd.
Yeah. So, and the other kind of elephant in the room is Jay Lecurgo. Looks like he's a black guy.
Yeah.
Tim Drake is definitely not black. And like I was telling you before, like a lot of times he's drawn maybe a little more like Asian looking, things like that. And, it definitely, I don't know. It's like, I don't know anything this kid's been in. So I'm definitely going to tamp down any expectations or like thoughts on this. But at the same time, like, because they went with this streetwise kid who managed to grow up in the mean streets, like, why?
That's a fundamental change in Tim Drake.
Right. So it's not Tim Drake anymore. You know who it could be is it could be Duke. Oh shoot, I just lost his last name. The kid from We Are Robin who like, gathered all these teenagers because they loved Robin so much and like started a whole revolution in Gotham because of it. Duke Thomas. And and yeah, like sure, have him play Duke. Of course then people will complain because Duke is drawn very dark skinned in the comic. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think because we still have Jason Todd running around, and if he's just going to become Red Hood without like dying and coming back, this is so rushed. Like, there's no need to add Tim Drake to this show yet.
No, and again, this has been a problem with Titans because we both like it in parts and see the potential, but this is the thing that they've done is particularly in season 2 is rushing storylines, which really takes away from some of the good characters they had and the good actors that they've had on there.
Yeah,
and this just unfortunately looks like season 3. And again, we don't know how Jason Todd's going to become Red Hood. We're just assuming that he's just going to throw on the hood.
Yeah, he's gonna throw on the red mask and be I'm bad now. Here's my biggest problem with Titans. Akiva Goldsman, Jeff Johns, Greg Berlanti. Greg Berlanti needs to just stop producing all of the DC stuff because it is. He started strong with Arrow. He really started strong with Arrow.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it turned into garbage. Garbage. The entire Arrowverse became just nonsense. And, they're already talking like the whole Batwoman thing. The second episode has the worst ratings of anything other than Charmed on the CW. This is just, this casting is just a virtue signal. This, and I'm not, this isn't about this kid who they cast, right? Like this is again, the people who own the IP to the characters do not understand fundamentally who and what they are. Like the fact that Dick Grayson, spoiler, killed the mobster that killed his parents.
Yeah.
Like that. No, that is not who Dick Grayson is. Dick Grayson, they get him right in so many ways, and then they turn around and just like show zero understanding of who he is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the character. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, funny enough, Lecurgo is also going to be in the Batman movie. Not sure what type of character he's going to play. It kind of reminded me of what Marvel did with Alfre Woodard when she played.
Oh yeah, she plays two
Luke
different
Cage,
characters. Yeah.
And then she played a role in Civil War, and I'm thinking, it didn't make a huge difference, but at the same time, it's like, why couldn't you get somebody else for that role?
Well, she was in Civil War first.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But like, she was great in Luke Cage. She was like one of the her and Mahershala Ali, and obviously Mike. Forgetting last names. The guy who played Luke Cage, they were
Mike Coulter. Yeah.
Mike Coulter, yeah, they were all fantastic.
Oh, they were.
Then, Misty Knight. I just can't remember names
Um,
today. Anywho,
Simone Missick. Or
Simone
something
Missick,
like that?
yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. She was awesome. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Plus, she's a really good actress. Although I haven't watched that Judge show that she's on because I don't watch anything on CBS because I'm not 90. Anyway, all right. So the other half of this is they've also announced Savannah Welch, not Welsh, Welch, is going to be their Barbara Gordon. So again, yeah, I don't know anything that Savannah's been in. You said she was on a show 6. I'd never heard of it. I just don't know. Because again, I think they're making fundamental changes because you pointed something out about this actress.
Yeah, it said like Welch herself is an amputee. Yeah, she lost one of her legs after an accident in 2016.
Yeah. Which, awesome, but Barbara Gordon is not an amputee. She's not in a wheelchair because she lost her legs. She's in a wheelchair because the Joker shot her through the stomach and through the spine. And again, like, it's fine if you want to make these changes, but like, is she going to have lost her leg as Batgirl? Is she only going to be able to play Oracle?
So yeah, I I don't know, man.
I was
Again,
excited for season
yeah.
3 coming back, and like both of these casting announcements, and let me rephrase that. Both of the story elements that they're adding with these casting announcements or character descriptions make me less excited.
And that's on top of knowing that Jason Todd's going to become Red Hood.
Yeah, and he's not going to get beat to death by the Joker. And here's the thing, is you have a TVMA series. You have a chance to go for broke. But you know what they're not going to do? They're not going to put their precious Joker onto an HBO Max TV show.
No, they're not.
Because they're going to be like, well, we're going to make a quote-unquote Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's going to be boring as fuck, and people are going to like say it's the greatest movie that ever happened, but they're just, again, I don't believe anyone who says they love that movie.
I love that movie.
I don't believe you.
No, I thought it was okay.
It was awful. I wanted to get my money back from that one so bad, but I sat through the whole thing. So
my problem with that movie is not the movie itself, but the reactions. Like, I mean, you have I would say your reaction is on one side of what I call just like I don't think it's an awful movie, but at the same time you have people saying that this is like one of the greatest comic book movies ever, which it's not even close to being. It's like I'm in the middle in the sense of it's one of those movies I watched once and I probably will never watch again. Well, unless somebody asks me, hey, will you watch this with me? I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
whatever,
no, I would never go back and watch it again. Not for any reason. But no, the reason I don't like it is because Todd Phillips was not the right director for that movie. And Todd Phillips was not the right writer for that movie. I thought they had a fantastic cast, and they like Joaquin Phoenix is I think one of the most amazing actors of our time. But I feel like he did this movie as an excuse to just sit around and smoke cigarettes all day.
Yeah,
anyway,
see,
all
that's
right,
the thing.
Sorry.
Anyway,
go ahead.
yeah. But
finish your thought,
again,
and then we'll move on.
To your point, though, it goes back to Titans in the sense of them they could go for broke in this, just like you said, but they're playing it safe because they want to, like you said, they want to protect their properties instead of saying, hey, we have a chance to do something special with this TV show. Let's do it. But no, they're doing like a lot of these shows do, in the sense of trying to throw everything at the wall all at once and see what sticks, instead of saying, hey, let's lean into our history with these characters.
And Warner Brothers keeps wondering why this whole DC franchise is faltering. That's the reason right there.
Yes, 100%.
So, all right. The last bit of news is the prize fight, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
We have got in the red corner, fighting out of the red corner, we have Godzilla. And fighting out of the blue corner from his very own island, we have Kong. I loved this trailer. I loved it. I thought this trailer was fantastic.
Yes, I really enjoyed the trailer. I like how they had that slow build up, and then you hear the again. One of the things I've loved about the Godzilla movies, the recent ones, is the sound that they use with Godzilla.
Yeah,
that slow build up, and I like how they didn't show. They showed enough to get my attention, but they didn't overshow things.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I was watching somebody's reaction to it, and they mentioned how it looked like, Kong was getting the better of Godzilla
Right.
in the trailer, which means I think it's going to be they're holding a lot back, because he's just not going to
Right.
whip up on Godzilla like that. And I don't know if this was just a trick of the light. And I haven't read any summaries as far as what's going to be in it, but it looked like there was a scene where it might be Mechagodzilla in it.
I don't know. It was
like,
just so great. I love the music. I love Alexander Skarsgård. He's awesome. And the fact that he's in it now. We had Coach Taylor back. We had Rebecca Hall, who I love. Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, I really like Rebecca Hall.
If you guys haven't seen The Town, one, why are you living under a rock? But go watch that immediately. That whole movie's amazing. The entire cast. Ben Affleck is, it's master storytelling.
Another excellent Rebecca Hall performance is Mr. Marsden and the Wonder Woman.
Yes, and another one called Tumble Down with Jason Sudeikis, who obviously we all know I love. He's no Andy Samberg, but he's my second favorite SNL.
Is he Paul Rudd?
He's not a galactic treasure, so no. But anyway, no, but Kong Skull, I couldn't, this movie could be horrible, right? And if it's horrible, I'll just go back and watch the trailer over and over again.
Yeah. I just hope we get a lot of, big monster fight and a little bit less humans.
The only humans I want to see are the ones who are collateral damage. You laugh. You laugh like I'm joking.
No, I 100% agree, because the one thing these kaiju type movies and Transformers, when they make their mistakes, it's trying to get us too involved with the human stories, which people like us, we don't care about. What we want to see is kaiju or robots or whatever it is, big and nasty fight and just tear shit up.
Right.
That's what we want to see.
Correct. We want to see some kaiju tearing shit up. That's what Pacific Rim got so right, and what Pacific Rim 2 got so wrong.
Yeah. Just the first Pacific Rim was I love that movie.
It's a classic. Okay, so now moving into the crux of the episode.
WandaVision.
Right. Well, there was no WandaVision type of what's it called thing this week. We just were in the real. There was no red pill or blue pill this week. It was just living in the real, drinking weird protein paste, just trying to grow hair and regrow atrophied muscles.
Paste.
Well, that's what they did on the Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, I know. I just
anyway.
I just had that visual of that.
the with the glook. Okay, so this week's episode was We Interrupt This Program. And it was again directed by Matt Shackman, who has done all of them, and then it was written by Bobak Esfarjani. Let's go with that one. And Megan McDonnell, which we forgot to point out that last week. Megan McDonnell, who wrote last week's episode, is the writer for Captain Marvel.
The first one,
the second one, the upcoming. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I got caught up on the dose part there.
Okay, is she the sole writer?
I do not know. I didn't look because I doubt I'm going to go see that movie. You and I had very different thoughts about this episode, and we'll dig more into it in our Patreon exclusive commentary. But I will say this week, again, kind of non-spoilery, there wasn't a whole lot of WandaVision, and it was a whole lot of kind of Marvel fan service.
I don't know if I would call it fan service. I would call it there was a lot of the B and C team in there.
Oh, you're way too high in the alphabet.
Yeah, like
it's like the O team. You know, maybe even.
I know. No, I'll call them the G team just because the government.
Because the G-men. You're G-man here.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Yeah, when I said C team, I just finished watching Batman Hush yesterday.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And Nightwing called the Riddler the C-lister.
Yeah. Did you ever read the comic?
Yeah, a while ago.
Dude, the movie was fun.
Oh, the comic
is so good.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's a classic. All right, so we kind of we pick up at the advent of the blip, with folks returning from wherever it is that the folks were.
Yeah, and again, it might be the whole Endgame Infinity War love, but like the way this episode started was perfect for me in a sense. Like there was just confusion, and just again, because we didn't really get to see in Endgame what would happen when people return. You know, they played it for laughs in a way in Spider-Man Far From Home, but we never got that. Okay, what are people going to do when they wake up or when they get blipped back or what have you?
Right.
And then this gave us, and again, granted, it was only a couple minutes, but it gave us an idea of how hectic and how just, panic-stricken a lot of these people would be just popping up out of nowhere. So I really liked that part of it, and that really drew me into this episode and made me wonder, okay, where are you going with this? And we get, obviously, because of it, we get what is her name?
Monica Rambeau
/ Geraldine.
I like Geraldine better than Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, so I really appreciated the start of the episode.
I loved the first 3 minutes of this episode. Loved, like, watching everybody reconstitute from the snapping was great.
Yeah,
it was, like you said, it was one of those things that, like, we've been really, really all wanting to see. And it's not like the people who snapped back, who blipped back in, and they were on a plane and then just plummeted to their deaths. But it was definitely very interesting. I thought the way the one doctor responded to Monica, and she's like, "Where have you been? Like, you just disappeared," like thinking that she just up and left. Was kind of cool because, all these people have been living for the last 5 years without those people. And then all of a sudden, especially seeing it in a hospital was kind of really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, just the chaos that was going on in that one area, just being a hospital, and just imagine that going on worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Yeah, it was a perfect start to the episode. Wasn't a perfect episode by any stretch.
No.
Again, we both have different opinions. I really liked the episode, but there were definitely issues about it.
Yeah,
it was missing, like you said, there was not much WandaVision, so it was missing that hook in the sense of the two characters that this show is about.
Right.
So
I called this. I told Angel, I said, this is an explainer episode. It's really all it is. This was 100% explainer episode. I'm curious if this has squashed a lot of the Mephisto rumors, or theories that are going around, or if this is kind of like a backwards House of M where she's like, more mutants.
Somebody made that joke a while ago before the show series started.
I'm not gonna lie. If that's the case, I might rage quit Marvel altogether. Like, that is just the dumbest thing, and it's like, are you kidding?
That would be I do not do that.
So Monica showing back up at Sword, where she grew up in, apparently. So Sword has been around since the 90s. Yet at the end, did you finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I did not. No.
Okay, I'm spoiling.
You can spoil it. You can spoil it.
It's been a year. Well, maybe not a whole year. But anyway, so the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., spoilers, they create Sword, essentially. They didn't join Sword. They're like, yeah, we're Sword now. And in this, they're like, hey, Sword has been around since your mom invented it in the 90s when she met, Captain OP. And, it's like, Marvel usually gets this stuff so right.
I guess I would call S.H.I.E.L.D., though, an outlier for the simple fact that, well, because of how they do the time travel thing and some of the stuff they do in there,
maybe
I don't think that. I honestly think they've redheaded stepchild Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the greater MCU.
Well, I mean, it had a lot of bad to it,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It wasn't until they started where they cut down to 13 episodes a season that it got really good. So,
which hint other shows.
But yeah,
especially CW shows.
Yeah, all shows, just no more than 13. Yeah. 10 is fine. Disney Plus does 8. I'm perfectly okay with that. But I will say, seeing Darcy Lewis, played by the wonderfully sarcastic Kat Denning, was great to have back. And obviously, Louis Wong, or I guess Jimmy Woo, played by the amazing Randall Park, who obviously has been practicing his close-up magic. When he did the card, if you haven't watched Ant-Man 2, the very quick joke will be missed on you, but that was wonderful. But yeah, so I think I don't want to go too much further into this because I don't want to talk about the end at all until we're doing the commentary, right? Because there is some cool stuff that happened that really is worth talking about, but I don't want to spoil it, and you guys have to pay to hear that.
And I think this is going to be a series where getting from once it comes out, like all 8 episodes are out, it's going to just kind of like we were talking about last week about episodes 7 and 8 of The Expanse go together. I think this is one of those shows that is a perfect example of, from episode 1 to 8, how important it is to get the whole picture, because there are still questions out there. And I think once we get those answers, we'll be able to come back and look at certain things and say, okay, this makes more sense here. This is better because of what came after it versus when we saw it. Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So. I will say one thing is when they kind of figure out that it's a TV show, we get to watch from their perspective. And we get to see some other things that didn't, like, quote unquote, make the broadcast for the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. So I did like that part.
I thought that was really neat. No, I liked it. And it was one of the cool things about the episode this week. But overall I was a little disappointed.
But I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see how certain people that didn't like the first couple episodes, unlike us, I mean, we both loved the first few episodes, how they would react to something like this, because like you said, this is kind of an explainer, and stuff happens, and I think certain people that might not have appreciated the first few weeks of this show might appreciate this more, because to them stuff happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Explainers happen.
I was disappointed because they told me so much. They didn't show me as much as they've been showing me, right? and they told me
Right.
this
Yeah.
person is this person is this concept is this. The one other really cool thing is like kind of learning why the helicopter she found in episode 2 was a helicopter, and then the beekeeper, seeing how that person came to be and what happened to his tether, I thought was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
So, but yeah, yeah, it's just.
But yeah, there was a lot of tell in this.
There
was a good amount
so
of
much tell,
and like I said,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
I would really like to hear from some people who didn't like the first couple episodes what they thought of this one.
Yeah, if you didn't like
And
the
if
first couple
that kind of
episodes,
because
and you're still watching, email us or hit us up on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I really, really, I had high hopes for Monica Rambeau, because of who she is in the comic, and I felt like what we got was a brat.
Mhm.
So, and especially because I thought to how do you say her name?
To Yona Paris.
To Yona Paris, thank you. I thought she was
Yes.
she was doing a fantastic job, and like she seemed super likable as like the weird ass Geraldine, who didn't know why she was where she was, and the kind of cliffhanger that they left us on, with like she has no home. I was not. I hope there's redeeming qualities to the characters. All I gotta say.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I didn't have the same issues with
Right.
her as you did, although there were a couple of things we agreed on as
Mhm.
well that kind of we both caught. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how her character develops the second half of the season, because this is the halfway point right now.
Yeah, we are in the home stretch at this point. We're in the back half of the season.
Yeah, we're not quite at the end game, but we're
nowhere near the end game yet.
nah.
I mean, well, end game already happened, so we're at the whatever the next end game is. So, end game
Yeah.
part 2, Electric Boogaloo. We're not there yet. So,
But yeah, and it's I have to say there's just still a lot of questions about what's going on in this show. Even though they did tell us a lot, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. So I'll be
yeah,
curious to see
which
what
I
direction.
like that there's unanswered questions. You know, that's what I
Oh,
want.
I like that too. I
don't want them to tell me everything.
Yeah, I don't like getting spoon-fed stuff. I really don't.
It's
I
because
like
you
some
didn't grow up
mystery
getting
to stuff.
You didn't grow up getting trophies handed to you. You had to try and earn them.
No.
So,
Yep.
that's why. That's you know, that's why it's okay for us to wait for things. And like, to be honest, like knowing this is leading into Spider-Man 3, multi-home and Multitude of Madness, Doctor Strange.
too.
It's like if they didn't explain anything in this series, and it's other than like, hey, we've opened a multiverse, I would have been perfectly fine with that and be like, we'll explain more next season, or we'll explain more in Spider-Man, or we'll explain more in Doctor Strange. Like get me excited for that stuff, and then let me know it's going to tie together like the Marvel stuff has been tying together, because a lot of the things we keep seeing, I'm not excited for Phase 4 and beyond.
Yeah, I'll just say I agree with that.
Like, I don't care about the Eternals. Not at all. I'll wait till that hits Disney
but it was
Plus
the
to watch.
best pitch. Yeah. That's where it might start off.
No, I mean,
Depending on
if they haven't released
how
if they
everything
haven't
happens.
released Black Widow yet, they're not releasing anything on Disney Plus Marvel wise.
I think that's that they're well. It just depends on whatever happens this year, as far as if they just decide, what, screw it, we're going to release it in the theaters,
Yeah.
because that's what they need to do.
Yep.
And that might help theaters. So, and I have no problem with going to see a movie. I really want to see Black Widow. Eternals, not so much. Shang-Chi, meh.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point, I'm absolutely excited for Doctor Strange too, but that's what, a year and a half, 2 years away. Absolutely excited for Spider-Man 3. Excited for Ant-Man Quantumania,
Mm-hmm.
but those are down the road.
Those are decades
So,
away at this point.
but like what they have in the yeah, it might as well be. So, but what they have in the pocket right now with like the Eternals, I don't know. The most exciting thing about the Eternals is I think Thanos is going to be in it. So
no, the most exciting thing about the Eternals is Kamal Nanjiani got ripped.
dude
got ripped, seriously ripped, and it's impressive. Like it was impressive when Chris Pratt got ripped, right? But like, go watch Stuber and then imagine Kamal Nanjiani ripped, and you're like, oh my god, good on you, dude, good on you. So anyway, all right. So if you want to hear us talk more about this, because we're actually gonna talk about the Pirates and Princesses op-ed, in our Patreon exclusive thing. So yeah. All right, let's get to Winnipesaukee.
The penultimate episode.
That is one of my favorite words, by the way. Penultimate. I don't know if you know that about me or not, but
yeah.
So, like, you're the penultimate host, like co-host.
I don't know about that.
You could beat. I'm kidding. No. So no. I keep calling it Lake Winnipesaukee. The episode, even though that's not what it was. Again, we were talking about this before we started to air. There is a section of this episode that I feel like they should have just dumped outright and given us more of the good stuff.
Yeah. And it was by far my least favorite part of the episode.
Yes. And, I know I liked last week's episode a little more than you.
Right.
I'm guessing you probably liked this episode more than me.
Yeah, because what I liked about it, I loved about it. And there was only one thing I didn't like at all, and then there was some other stuff that there was one other thing I was lukewarm about.
Okay. So,
but yeah.
So some things I really liked, because I want to start off on a positive note. I really liked that the Screaming Firehawk had damage to one of the little shuttlecock like protuberances out of the back from when that missile exploded that we had not seen yet. I thought that was really cool and a nice bit of continuity. We have not gotten nearly enough Bobby and Alex this season, and that is a high crime against expansdom.
Oh, absolutely. And I was thinking when I watched it again this morning, and that's when I saw them, in the Screaming Firehawk, that was the first thing I went through my mind. It's like, we just did not get enough of these two characters.
No, not at all. I mean, we got a little bit of them on Mars, and then they stuck him in the shuttlecock and sent him out into space. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we needed more of was the Rossi. We got a little bit, and it was more Bull and Monica telling Holden, no, you can't go after Naomi. We don't have the fuel for it. And, I don't think they realize who they're dealing with.
I did. I love the look Holden gave Bull when he said that.
Yeah.
Or no, when he said that everything just ends up dead, and he's like, sorry.
Oh yeah, wrong choice of words. Because Holden's still running around with armor on. Like he's ready. He's ready to, in prison terms, he's ready to cut a bitch.
Yeah, and also, to kind of piggyback off what we said about Alex and Bobby, we have not gotten enough Holden this season.
No. Well, I told you, I don't think Steve Strait could be listed as the head of the cast right now because he's essentially a reoccurring character.
Yeah, he is. And I understand because of how everything is developing and from a story standpoint, why they are, why everybody's separated. But with that being said, especially particularly this episode, we should have been able to get more Holden and less of Drummer and her crew and
Well,
all that drama.
in Nemesis game, Holden is on Tycho for most of the book, and he's putting together why all these ships are disappearing and where these ships are going. Like,
right,
with the Free Navy and with the gate, the ring gate, and certain things. And, like, we didn't have any of that. We didn't have him hiring the lady to break into the Free Navy code base and Medina Station. And, it's just, they sidelined the cornerstone of the show.
right. And one of the things we've been very complimentary about this show is how they've taken stuff and parsed things from the book and put it to screen. And I have to say that as much as, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed this season. From as a whole, I really enjoyed this season. But there have been decisions they've made where I haven't been particularly fond of, especially, and I'm focusing in on their treatment of Holden's character and what they haven't really done with him.
Right.
And that's definitely my number one gripe for the season. And then secondly would be Bobby and Alex.
So, yeah, and then I'm going to add a third one to that, and it's the stuff happening back on Earth. Because Earth got a major attack. And it seems like it is such a small, isolated thing to wherever Amos happens to be at the moment.
I guess in that, and again, so I really enjoyed everything that happened with the whole Amos thing on Winnipesaukee.
Yeah.
But do you mean like you're not really getting the full,
you don't get the scope of the fact that Earth is dying.
Right. Okay.
Like we open the episode.
No, you really don't.
We open the episode with Avasarala, putting Arjun's digital headstone in the spinny vortex of headstones. And like you get a view of that, right? Where when it pans out and you see that it's going, however high this ceiling of that dome is. But there's a whole lot of white space in between each one of those title cards or whatever, digital gravestones. And, it's like, okay, these are just the people from Luna who are putting their dead ones, dead friends and family up for remembrance. But like, we're not hearing anything about the fact that, like, there's a nuclear winter coming. There is crops faltering all over the place. They didn't bother to like touch on Holden's parents at all.
No, a few episodes ago or earlier on, they said he'd lost contact with them.
Right, that was
but
it.
He's again, that's another thing where they've kind of dropped, like in Holden's story, they've dropped the ball on, and that is something. As much as he wants to find Naomi, he very much would want to try to make contact with his parents, and
right.
they've not even given him a scene where he's trying to make contact with them.
No, none
dropping
whatsoever.
a message to them.
Like, because he does care about those people. He's just never going back to them. Well, I mean, he went back to Earth already, but yeah, it's just again, I love what they've done with Naomi this season. I really do. And I feel like some of that has also been at the expense of the rest of the story.
Yeah. And again, she didn't get a lot of time this week, but again, Dominic Tipper, in the short time she does get,
yeah, I mean,
just continues to impress. And
Dominic Tipper is crushing it this season. So I'm not necessarily complaining about like, her whatever is too much. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, we learned way more about Marco and Philip than we needed to. they've almost humanized Philip too much.
I could see where you're saying that, and I like how you said almost. It's that that's a tough one for me. I would actually, as much as I do like what they've done with him, I would rather them have pulled back a little bit and focused a little bit more on our core characters.
Yeah. Because any kind of redemption that Philip may or may not get will not be earned at this point. It's just literally going to be given. And they've also made us, well, part of this is because Keon Alexander is amazing. Marco is far too likable because we've spent so much time with him. It's like I told you, when I saw It, which I still never saw chapter 2, but It chapter 1, like by the end, because there was so much Pennywise, it's like, oh, he's kind of cute. Oh, look at that cute dancing clown. Oh, I just want to pat his head. Here, eat my hand. I don't care. So, you're so cute.
So the less you want to go, that less is more route.
Absolutely. Like, you know,
like
Marco
just, for a villain,
I
think, unless it's their story, like for instance, Infinity War was it wasn't about the Avengers. It was about Thanos. Correct. And so when you have that, okay, because that's different. But in something like this, I agree, where less is more. And as much as I've loved Keon Alexander's performance, which again, it's been brilliant, if they would have parsed down a few scenes here and there and then redistributed it to our, again, our core cast, I think that would have made for a more satisfying season for me.
Yeah. I mean,
as much as I like the season.
Yeah. You've got the Earth Gov all like, which Belter stronghold are we going to bomb next? Right. They've done nothing to show us that, like, other than the fact that, like, allegedly Marco and Norris dropped some rocks on Earth. They've done nothing to warrant that level of response, because we haven't seen the Free Navy wiping out ships. The season has been this season was supposed to be this. Well, no, but I know it's not allegedly. But this season's supposed to be like expansive and like showing how big the galaxy has gotten. And we just have these, pun intended. We have these just tiny pockets of people that we're getting glimpses at a time in space. Honestly, the only characters that we've seen where there's any level of danger or stakes is Amos.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Naomi too, just because like she keeps taking in so much CO2, and she's obviously going to have lung issues after this. She's going to be able to sue for the mesothelioma, whatever those commercials were when we were kids. Remember, if you breathe in asbestos, call this number. Mesothelioma. That's what it is. Mesothelioma. She's definitely gonna be having like some lung issues from there, where she's gonna be a part of a class action lawsuit against the Free Navy, I assume. But yeah, it's just
that's a great point you just made about showing the pockets. Again, when this was on Sci-Fi Channel, you understood, because they had limited budget and everything. If something like, and again, don't get me wrong, Sci-Fi did a great job with this show. I was expecting more. Like, for example, they mentioned there was a firefight between the 5 Free Navy ships and then some Martian and some UN ships.
Right.
And we get the report on what happens
from the Free Navy.
But that's it.
From that horrific Carol character.
Oh God. Yeah.
So, we don't see the UN actually talking about like, well, we lost a capital ship and the Martians lost 2 Donager class ships, and oh my God, they sank my battleship. We're not getting any of that. And the one scene where we saw the Pella, whatever he renamed it, flying through, and you saw those Free Navy ships. It's like, is this all they have? No, it's not. They have hundreds of ships, and Yeah, it's
yeah,
just, and they have the proto
yeah,
molecule.
it goes beyond. Yeah, it goes beyond showing too, because there are certain instances, like you said, they could have said, could have talked about on no, on Luna, I should say, yeah, on Luna. What are the capabilities of this free navy?
Hmm.
We've never gotten that. We've
No.
gotten, okay, we need to strike back,
Yeah.
and that's it. And
So
no, there have been no type of brainstorming, like what are their capabilities, where, what are their locations, any of this stuff that would go into a battle plan. We have gotten just say, okay, where should we strike? That's it.
right.
Like, not okay, what are our resources, what are the Martian resources as far as ships and stuff like that, what is the UN, where are our battle class cruisers at, where are these at? None of that stuff, none of that type of chess of positioning assets has gone on.
No.
And this absolutely would have gone on.
Like the
And
fun political,
it's become a detriment.
yeah, the fun like political side to the show is completely gone. Completely gone. Like
And
Avasarala's
and when I was
machinations and like what you're talking about. Like it should have been that game of chess between Inaros and everybody else.
yes, absolutely. And when I said like my issues, like that, that this is the
Mhm.
part of it, because yes, there were a couple cool aspects, but it in a way it came off as more preachy and
Mhm.
less about, okay, what do we have to do to, one, shore up our defenses of Earth, and two, go after this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That we get none of that. We just get people saying, okay, we're going to do this because of reasons.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing, instead of this episode being called Winnipesaukee, it should have been called uh the demoralization of Kamina Drummer.
So I told you before we started, when this season first started, and you saw Oksana, as far being, I can't remember the word she uses of what she means
Her
to
wife.
Kamina, but I really liked Oksana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I really like this character. I've done a complete 180 on her, and and one of the things I wrote, when I take notes, let me, I'll just read. For the drummer and Oksana, they're going to be finished. There's no way they're going to be able to make up after this, because yes, we understand Oksana is scared for herself and then those she loves,
Mm-hmm.
but the way she is treated, you know, her lover, her wife, her captain,
Right.
is nigh unforgivable.
Nigh unforgivable. I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, I told you when Drummer was talking to her and Oksana was in the airlock, Drummer should have just spaced her.
And man, Kara G, again, like we talk about Keanu Alexander.
Yeah.
Just, I love her as Drummer. Like, she's like,
yeah.
how much shit do I have to take for you to respect me?
Right. Right. And I'm sorry, but like if she doesn't kill Carol at some point, like why put her through this? Why?
Yeah.
It's so, and I know knowing where the character's going, right, is one thing just from the books, because there's no way they're not gonna do what she ends up doing, right? But the fact that they're making us wait a whole season, this kind of felt this season, like in retrospect, looking at it as a whole, it kind of feels like season 3 of Lost, where they just decided to spin their wheels for 10 episodes. And, they've given us some cool stuff, but like we're in no different place from when they launched The Rock at the end of season 4. And this episode highlights that to me greatly.
It's so, everything for me, honestly, it started off very well. As moving forward, and again, we're talking, things can be good and sit still, but a show like this, you need to move forward.
Right. It's a
and
shark.
This does kind of, yeah. And this episode, particularly with Drummer's character and how little we've gotten of Holden, and and some of the things. It is kind. I can see where you're talking about you spinning. In the only one that's kind of been really moving forward consistently has been Amos,
Right.
and that's because he has to go from place to place.
Yeah.
He had to go to Baltimore and and find Eric, and from there him and Peaches had to get to Winnipesaukee. They had to get the ship working. They had to get up to Luna. Now they're on their way to Luna. He's been consistently moving forward in a satisfactory way for me. Everyone else has had pockets of great have pockets of entertaining scenes and poignant things, but yeah, like you said, again, with the whole Avazarala thing spinning in place, the drummer thing spinning in place, Naomi didn't get a lot. She has to be in place. That's
Right.
just because of
but Naomi's character has moved forward, like
Naomi,
like Naomi got the lion's share of the season, and that there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact that they did all these little side stories that haven't gone anywhere, ever since Naomi left on the Chetsmoka, it has just been that she left on the Chetsmoka, and how will she survive?
And honestly, as much as, like I said, we've liked Keon Alexander, we really haven't needed to see him that much. We shouldn't. They could have cut in half how much we've seen him since Naomi, jumped ship.
Right.
And it would have been fine.
Right. So I don't know. I think they have a lot to do in the season finale. And if it's only, 45, 50 minutes long, it's not going to be long enough. And they're going to leave us on such a cliffhanger, and we have no idea when the show's coming back. It's just going to be kind of disappointing, because the season did start off super strong, and it's just kind of fizzling here.
Yeah, and it's not that it's going to be a cliffhanger; it's going to be an unfinished cliffhanger.
Yeah,
there are cliffhangers that and Expanse has done such a good job, not just from seasons, but from episode cliffhangers.
Right.
And I believe I agree with your point in the sense that there's going to be something incomplete about it. It's not just because we're going to be left hanging. We're going to be left hanging, and we didn't get what we deserved.
Correct.
From a story perspective. So, but again, I did love everything I did love everything about Amos. The whole Winnipesaukee saga, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even talked
Amos
about that.
And Peaches and Eric. I mean, all of that was great.
I just got to say, private security has no idea what they're dealing with when it comes to Timmy. And, like, these people, like, kind of try and step to Amos because they think he's just some dumb guy. And it's like, he's one of the more brilliant battle tactician people, like, that they have in the show.
Yes.
Like, he could do Delgado's job and be great at it.
Yeah. Although he'd probably need our boy Holden to
he would need Holden to temper him from, going out and just straight up murdering everybody. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't need murder claws there.
Yeah.
But
seeing how much Clarissa has changed, for better or for worse. And the reason I say that last part is because in that scene where I think it's Pinkwater Security.
Yeah, it's Pinkwater.
And I love Eric. He's like, this is the worst shakedown I've ever seen in my life.
The look that he gave to Amos was just like, they're like, oh God, look at what these two are trying to do, or look what these guys are trying to do to us. Should we just kill them now? And to your point, like, for better or for worse, Clarissa got a lot of people killed this episode.
Oh, absolutely, because that's what Amos says. It's like, they're going to come back, right? And I don't remember what movie that was or what show, but it was like, I'm paraphrasing. It's like, sometimes people need a killing. And, this is an example of, if you're in a situation where basically chaos is going on, or if you're in Mad Max's world, this is no longer civilized society. And that's a perfect example of, yes, for better or for worse. She has changed, which is great, but she put people's lives needlessly at risk because she's changed, instead of letting the people who know the situation deal with it in the way it needed to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm. Your quote is from a book, The Night Trade. Did you ever watch that or read that? I don't know.
I don't know.
The quote is,
I wonder.
"Some people just need killing." So, but you know, it still works. But no, yeah, it's, I don't know. Like, this was it was from World of Warcraft as well. Sorry. No, yeah, I like, the thing though is, like, Clarissa did what needed to be done at one point as well in the episode.
Yes, she did.
And so, you know, I think because, you know, and again, this is things where they showed us what was happening with her this whole time, and she's trying to be a good person, and she thinks being a good person is saving everybody. And you know, she saw the forgiveness that Holden gave to her by not spacing her, and she sees kindred spirit in Amos as far as like a monster, and that's how she views herself. But you know, as she's gotten to know Amos, she realizes, like, yes, he's a monster, but also he's trying to, you know, not be. And so her trying to not be was just an overcorrection.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is,
you know,
not at all.
And
right.
You know, I joking, you know, she got a lot of people killed. I mean, she really did, but like, she didn't mean to. That wasn't her intention. And at the same time, you know, she was able to save a lot of people because she understood, like, hold on, I have to have a balance here. And I love the fact that we only heard the screams.
I did like that. Yeah.
Like, again, that's that like Jaws in the water thing, because when she killed the guy on his homestead, you know, you just saw her like that frantic, like Chris Nolan style of fighting, you know, where it's just up close, just shaking the camera as someone screams. You know, that was okay, but I would have much rather seen the aftermath, like we got to. I will say my favorite scene of the entire episode was her and Timmy in the cockpit, and Timmy's
Eric.
Eric, sorry, her and Eric in the cockpit when he says, "Why does he call you Peaches?" And she's like, "I don't know. Why do you call him Timmy?" And he's like, "'Cause that's his name." Like, he got all offended.
And she's like, "Should I ask?
Should I ask?" And he goes, "I wouldn't."
Yeah. I love their conversation. Yeah, that was my favorite scene. Or, you know, the action scene. You know, the shootout was great. I mean, when you were talking about the only one that's been in peril has been Amos, and again, I know he wasn't going to die, but then at the same time, like when he gets that ricochet and he's just like stunned, just like walking around, and then Hutch grabbed, which again, by the way, I really like her.
Yeah, shout out to Hutch. She was great in the book, and she was even better in the show, because I don't remember the actress's name who plays her, but she brings like your favorite word to the table with that character. Because gravitas, because she controls, she's able to seamlessly go back and forth between what Amos's world is and what Timmy's world is, or Eric's world is.
Eric's world.
Timmy. That's the other thing I can think of is when he calls him Timmy. But
yeah. So I really I look at Clarissa or Peaches as a de facto for now Holden for Amos, because again, to your point, you said, you know, she saved lives, because if she wasn't there, Amos wasn't going to help those people get away.
He was going to kill those people.
Well, not just.
I'm talking about the winter staff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He
would just kill them to make them go away.
Yeah, and again, because she was there, he walked away. He was like, "Okay, we can't help you. Bye, peace. Do whatever you got to do.
Peace out, bitches." But
you know, it's because of her that those people got away. And like, he even tells Timmy. See, I'm doing it now. He even tells Eric, like when Eric looks at him after, he's like, "Shut up." It's like, just shut up.
Shut up, Richard.
So yeah, everything on
yeah.
there, and again, the talk that they have, the talk that Eric and Peaches has about tribes and everything like that.
Yeah.
That was another very human moment of
Mhm.
These two people, and Eric was like, I love. He's like, Jesus, where did he get you at? Serving a life sentence for multiple homicides, and he just like looks over at her. Like,
I'm gonna be a lot nicer to you.
Yeah.
It's a great line. Anyway, yeah, I mean, so there was actual good stuff, but at the same time, this episode really highlighted all of the flaws in this season. Yeah. All of them.
And I think it's one of those things, to me, is because I've liked these episodes so much individually for the most part, I haven't seen the cracks in the foundation as much as, and this episode really shows those cracks to me.
Well, it's because the whole drummer Free Navy thing was a gaping sinkhole that is bringing the rest of the story down, when the parts of the Free Navy that have elevated the show are now suffering because of what's happening with the drummer ships.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And that has nothing to do with Kara G, by the way. She is awesome. It's everyone around her. So I was thinking, and I wrote this down in my notes. Whenever it's one of her crew communicating with someone else, when drummer is not in the room, those scenes drag because neither Oksana or Carol, I feel, are very good actresses. They're not engaging. Like, I really don't care. It's like, okay, just say what you're going to say and bring drummer back in, because then it gets interesting, because then you guys have to work to act up to Kara G's level. And she brings you up to her level. Let's really put it that way.
Yeah, there is something missing, and I guess with Carol and Oksana, I wasn't sure if it was because I just can't stand those two characters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And not in a sense of, and it's not like I can't stand Marco, but I love watching him on screen.
Right.
I can't stand the characters, and they're not engaging enough to make me care about that. Their characters.
So I'm going to disagree for a second. They've given a ton of red meat to Carol and Oksana to play with this season, and neither one of them have been playing with fire.
Oh no! What I mean by like engaging, I'm talking about the actresses themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Those actresses have been given a ton of red meat to play with, and they're not up to that task.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah.
So we agree. It's just, they're not cooking with gas, as Guy Fieri would say. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So I think out of 5 Pinkwater soldiers dead in the snow, I'm gonna go with a 3 for this episode.
Yeah, I have it at a 3.5.
So yeah, did you like that one? Dead Pinkwater soldiers in the snow. Anyway, yeah. All right. So I don't know. It's just.
I'm really hoping that we get shocked and it's like a 90-minute finale.
Dude, we have to. I'm not watching previews or reading any like synopses for what's coming or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't either. Sometimes I have to watch out because I follow the page on Instagram and they'll show a scene from a coming up episode.
Yeah.
So I just.
You mean at this point your Instagram the algorithm isn't just showing you CrossFit girls?
Now I have because jujitsu and all this.
Mine is like almost all one wheel.
So. How many one wheel pages are there? Do you have on there?
Probably millions. I don't know, thousands at least. But yeah, I mean, it's great. It's an awesome community. The people are amazing. Oh, it's. Let me rephrase that. It's all one wheel and then Yak Face.
I stopped following Yak Face just because I didn't want to like when I say stop following, I hid Yak Face because I'm trying to temper how much stuff I get. So if I can't see it, then I don't know it's there.
All right, so here's a funny Yak Face story. And if you guys know what we're talking about, you know. And if not, just go look up Yak Face on Instagram. So he posted the Maul and Ahsoka vintage series figures. And it's like, these are from Dorkside. So I just went to Dorkside and I pre-ordered them. And then I sent the link to everybody. And everyone's like, this is a 404 page. And it's like, I never get lucky like that where like they accidentally put something up and I get to pre-order it. Never, ever, ever. I'm always the last one. And I'm always like, I might, if I get it, it's like, I got it and then nobody else is getting it. I'm like the very last one. And I'm never just, so. And I was like, I was worried for a second too, but then I got the confirmation email. So I was like, whew. And then I checked back today and it's in my pre-orders. So, but that being said, I have far too many pre-orders for toys going on right now.
Yeah, I cut down a couple. Like I canceled a couple.
Yeah. Well, like I want that Commander Bly. I need to finish out with Sabine and Hera in Ahsoka for the new Rebels figures, just because I have to have them all, and that marks the third.
Like Pokemon, gotta catch them all.
Yeah, but it makes the third of those like figures I have. But like I have the Ahsoka hot toy pre-ordered, and that's not even until next December, or this December 2021. And I was looking at some hot toy stuff, and it's like spring 2022. I'm like, I think I might need to pre-order this, and I have not, but but like I have
it's a year away,
like the Aang and Korra statues I have a Zuko one pre-ordered now. So
that was pretty. Those
dude, the Zuko one is
looking.
So sweet because 1 is season 3 Zuko, and 2 is season 3 Zuko from when he's fighting Azula. So which is hands down my all-time favorite animated scene ever.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm almost finished with season 2.
Yeah,
so.
their Agni Kai at the end is amazing and beautiful, and like it gets dusty every time I watch it. So yeah. All right. On that note, do you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thanks to Matt and Julian for helping us out on Patreon. You guys can join them by going to patreon.com/infamouspodcast and sign up. We've got a bunch of cool perks. I got a ton of cool stickers just waiting to be mailed to you. If you back our top tier, there is a t-shirt in your future, and we have cool ass t-shirts thanks to Flying Pork Apparel. We do have cool shirts.
Yeah, I really like that last one you got me.
Oh, the X-Men Krakoan. It says Infamous Podcasting Krakoan. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The hat. The hat is really cool. I finally got the Bills properly hillbillied, so I'm very excited. Between that and my make Orwell fiction again. So anyway, all right. On that note, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you next week. And don't forget, our WandaVision commentary is up now. If you're hearing this on Sunday or after, it went up on Saturday night. So thanks for listening. The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @infamouspodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time.